game today. And these guys certainly appreciating that moment. One more chance to shine in the sun here in the spotlight at Stabler Arena. Ready to go. Leopards dark uniforms. Lehigh, the light colors controlled. And here is Karan Ross, one of the best freshmen of the Patriot League, #1, the point guard, and #1 of the Patriot League in assists, close to 6 helpers per game.
And already we see a change in defense. Lafayette coming out in a 1-3-1. Both of these teams offensively, so much about rhythm. I think at the early going in this game, who can disrupt that rhythm defensively will be huge.
Stefan Severkai, senior from Kitchener, Ontario in Canada, with a try from the corner. Nick Lindner, sophomore point guard for Lafayette. His jumper from the paint no good. Trickles out of bounds, belongs to Lehigh.
You know, again, you've got two of the best scoring teams in this league. They have not been defensive dynamos for much of the year, but again, if you can disrupt that rhythm.
And we'll see if that's a factor. Ross attacking the paint, can't score it. Dan Trist able to pull it down, and here's Lindner. Into the paint, Schaefer may have got a hand on it, loose. Held basketball in the possession arrow, favoring the Leopards.
You know, Lindner, this is what he's going to do. Both these point guards, Karan Ross for Lehigh and Lindner, they're just a little bit of over-penetration. And if you're Lafayette, fortunate to get it back.
And Lindner taking a quick seat. Zach Rufer comes in to spell him. Fran O'Hanlon will go to the bench early and often for Lafayette. Bryce Scott, Jr. from El Dorado Hills, California, with a touch inside. Seth Hinrichs, and he can do that, and that's score the ball.
Well, you think it's going to be a turnover if you're Lehigh. You leave the basketball, and that is one guy, Seth Hinrichs, can knock it down from a lot of spots on the floor. You don't want to leave him.
Underneath opportunity for Conroy Baltimore, senior from the Bronx in New York. Can't deliver it. And now Scott.
Well, and not to throw cold water on the senior day gesture, Jason, but you wonder how long Brett Reed goes with this senior lineup. A few of these guys do not play many minutes at all, and you can't get too far down against a very good offensive Lafayette team.
This Lafayette squad scoring 74 points per game on the interior. Baltimore with a bucket. So Conroy Baltimore, just his 7th game of the year, playing under 30 minutes on the season coming in, delivers the 2 early for Lehigh. And now a walk on the baseline against Dan Trist. And Chris, sharing the basketball for Brett Reed and the Mountain Hawks been vital to their success.
And it's one of the reasons they've been so good in conference. You see the difference there. In the last 2 games, one of them was a loss, only 13 assists. You see what that does to the field goal percentage. 29 assists combined in the 2 games before that. They shot 44%.
Khalid McCaskill can't hit. Hinrichs tried to go all the way to the rack and missed it. Ross, little seam and scores.
I'll tell you what, this freshman, he's going to be the freshman of the year in this league, and he's going to be a terrific player at Lehigh. You see the ability to get into that paint, so good off the bounce.
4-piece. Joey Tusinski, one of the top 3-point threats in the league, showing off his arsenal.
And you can't leave him. That's what he does. Catch and shoot. He's a specialist. You've got to identify him early and stay locked in the half court.
And now an illegal screen going against Lehigh.
You see the penetration, and you can't be that far off of him. You just can't. Even on the weak side, you've got to stay attached, because that's what he does, catch and shoot.
And that's a big sign for Lafayette. First meeting this year, he was 0 of 8 from the floor, 0 of 5 from three-point land, and he is as streaky as they come. When he's on, look out.
Well, it helps everything. It helps their spacing. This is a team that get a lot of confidence when they play well offensively.
Matt Klanowski, freshman from Voorhees, New Jersey, hitting the floor for the first time for the Leopards. He has it now. And trying to go to the paint and walk. Second turnover on Lafayette.
You see the frenetic pace. Both these teams, a lot of movement offensively, a lot of cuts, screens. The ball doesn't stick with either team. It's constantly moving. It takes discipline defensively and knowing that scouting report.
That senior-laden squad still rolling here for Lehigh. And Corey Schaefer, senior from Johnston, Iowa. He'll have free throws coming up.
These are the two best free throw shooting teams in the Patriot League, Jason. Neither of them get to the line a lot, but when they do, they are high percentage. Something to keep an eye on today when you're looking at other ways to produce offense.
And now Schaefer promptly missing them. Tim Kempton coming into the floor for Lehigh.
I'll tell you what, I was not a great defensive player in college. That has been my best defense as a broadcaster. Jinxing the free throw shooter.
Schaefer, 83%. Yeah, the percentages swaying back in his favor. And again, hand for McCaskill, and he came off. One of the seniors, Conroy Baltimore, as well as Justin Goldsboro and Tim Kempton. Two of the frontline players for Lehigh finally hitting the floor. Scott working on Severka. Hinrichs eyed up the three, and the rebound pulled down by the Mountain Hawks. Ross pull up, averaging about 10 points per game, including being the assist leader as well with the Patriot League.
And you see the emphasis on that end, an early ball screen, quick offense. And same thing from Lehigh. They get into it quick, or Lafayette rather. They get into it quickly. You'll see a lot of ball screens from both teams, attacking the paint and then kicking out to shooters. Scott
had 18 against Holy Cross on Wednesday and delivers that banked-in bucket. Leopards over 50% from the floor so far, and a 4-point lead. Kempton hit the deck. Lehigh with 10 left to shoot. Goldsboro with the left hand. Able to keep it alive for Lehigh. Ross poached by Tazinski. He doesn't agree with the foul call. 9-5. Leopards leading on the road against their arch rival.
That basketball, like you said, Jason, that was the difference.
See the coaches in a rivalry game. They're on refreshment time at the same time. Both getting a little liquid nourishment. Kempton underneath, trying to feed himself scoring-wise. Can't. It's out of bounds, and Lafayette will keep it.
Yes, Fran O'Hanlon before the game. We were just talking about the Patriot League in general. I said, which matchup, which guy in this league worries you the most? And he said Tim Kempton, no question about it.
Scott on the take. Goldsboro able to get in there and pull that down. It's interesting as we've gone around the league, the other name that we hear a lot that's a difficult guy to worry about, it's one of Fran O'Hanlon's players in Dan Tripp.
Absolutely. And both those guys should be first team All-Patriot League. Don't get creative because they're both centers. They both deserve to be first team.
Schaefer cutting cord on a three on senior day. Guy averaging about 5 points, 3 rebounds per game. Hinrichs. Oh, these teams get it rolling. Look out.
And that's going to be a tough matchup for Justin Goldsboro. Big guys typically gravitate to that paint defensively. Hinrichs, the definition of a stretch four.
5 in the game for Hinrichs. And he has it back. Lead feed for Scott. Layup good. Timeout, Lehigh. And this Lafayette on the year. Maybe took a shot to the right eye. He'll take a seat for the moment as well. Roofer back on for Lafayette. Monty Boykins, sophomore from Westchester, Ohio, getting a look too, along with the sophomore Michael Hoffman. Kempton versus Trist. Kempton thought maybe he got banged, shot it off the side of the backboard.
Well, that's the matchup in the post. Trist against Kempton. Lafayette not doubling. And when you've got a body like Trist, if you just stay big, stay tall, and don't foul, here's this matchup. They're going to isolate. He starts behind, but look at the shrinking of the floor. You see these guys right here. All eyes on that post matchup. And one of the things Fran O'Hanlon talked about, you know, we might scrape with our guards on Tim Kempton, but we're not going to full out double unless he's giving us problems.
Foul on Austin Price is checked in for Lehigh, his first. Trist able to gain control. Roofer. Boykins can't get it done over Price. And now we'll head the other way.
Oh, it's just nice defense. Monty Boykins is really Lafayette's best guy at getting in the gaps. And just well played by Austin Price to go straight up. He makes a play on the ball without fouling.
Ross thought about going back to Goldsboro. Instead, it's Price taking and making.
Just penetrate and pitch. It's what Lehigh, when they're at their best, they space it and play. They share the basketball.
Price, second leading scorer for Lehigh in top 15 in the Patriot League, about 11 per game. Ross all the way again. Hey. Oh yeah! Popping free, Trist able to save it to Hinrichs. Lindner. And now the point guard gets it back. Giveaway Leopards. This Lafayette team protects it pretty well. Only about 11.5 turnovers per game. Already 3 here. First 8 minutes or so. Kempton. Goldsboro.
And that's the tough matchup, because when he goes, you want to bring help, but the help leads to the offensive rebound. Goldsboro not blocked out. And how about Kempton able to just put it on the floor, get it up onto the backboard, and allow his buddy Goldsboro to clean it up.
And Kempton has not hit a shot to this point, 0-3 from the floor. Goldsboro able to clean up the last time. Hinrichs traveled.
Well, Jason, this game is not going to be for the faint of heart. If you like pace, if you like offense, you're going to get plenty of it today.
Over the top 2 teams in the standings, Bucknell and Colgate. Then they lost 3 in a row before winning against Holy Cross. Is defense the key factor?
Well, it is. You talked about that inconsistency, and they're the leading scoring team in the Patriot League. So it shows you, if you're not committed to defense in the long term, it's hard to be consistent when a lot of your identity is at offensive end.
Miles Simelton, sophomore from Oswego, Illinois, on the floor. Mountain Hawks turn it over. Tisinski turns it into 3.
And that said, you can be loud if you have the ability to score. And Joey Tisinski making an impact, his second 3 today.
Trio of triples to this point for Lafayette. Top 10 of the nation in 3-point proficiency. Another empty trip for the Mountain Hawks.
And Dan Trist doing a nice job just being a bother to Kempton.
Lindner backing out. Still plenty of time with the shot clock. Hinrichs. Trist trying to get it done over Kempton, and does.
He does, and showed great patience in there. It was a tough catch on the roll. He posted, took his time, and got a nice look.
What will Lehigh do to counter Ross? Try to work a 2-man game with Kempton. Pull up, no good. Offensive rebound, Jesse Chukwu. The junior from London, England. Trap gets it outside. Price on the take. Can't get it to go, but 2 shots ahead.
And here's Dan Trist. These two guys are locking horns in the paint. You see just a tough catch on that tight pick and roll. And then he caught it, composed himself, took his time, and gets to his little pet shot. Again, those are some big bodies locking horns inside. The numbers there from Dan Trist do not lie. Has been terrific this year, especially in conference.
Kempton and Ross both check out. Schaefer coming back along with Goldsboro. You know, it's interesting, Chris. A lot of teams, their defense seems to fuel their offense. Lafayette sometimes seems like when they shoot it well, they're better at the defensive end.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's because that's who a lot of these players are for Lafayette. You know, they're offensive guys. They, you know, a lot of their identity is about putting that ball in the hole. And when they're doing that, defense becomes a lot easier.
Lead currently at 6. Track that free throw statistic. In the last game, Lehigh was perfect. Lafayette only missed 2, and in this game so far, we've already had 2 missed free throws, as many as we had in the entire first meeting.
And there's just that baseline drive again, leading to the shot from Scott, and a rare air ball from him. Usually a very proficient three-point shooter.
And freewheeling subs again for Lafayette. And the opportunity to sit, get a breather, and change it up. Lindner out there now with Hoffman, Klinuski, Tusinski, and Rufer for the Leopards. Goldsboro trying to work over the freshman Klinuski. Kempton's had his struggles in the paint. Goldsboro as well, trying to find some form on the offensive end for Lehigh. Klinuski. Mountain Hawks defended that one. Simulton. And now a foul in the battle for the loose ball.
I'll tell you what, it has been an up and down affair. Both of these teams are not shy about putting that ball up early, and these coaches are great with that. As long as you're getting good looks in that early offense, tempo, a big part of the way these teams win. It has been tough sledding at the basket. Both teams doing a nice job protecting the rim with shot blocking.
Off the restart, corner look for Price. Rimmed out, foul on Zach Rufer. His first. We talk about the scoring ability of Lafayette. Lehigh down a little bit this year, but remember the Mountain Hawks led the Patriot League and scored 4 of the previous 5 seasons. Tusinski trying to get another bucket. That's out of bounds and a timeout. 19-13. The team from Easton trying to beat their buddies from Bethlehem in the latest edition of this sloppy on offense.
You know what I take away from that, though, Jake? Tone matters. He recognizes the emotion of this game. It's early in the game, and he's talking to his players in a matter-of-fact way. This is what we need to do. He's not screaming. He's not yelling. Tone matters.
Hinrichs throwing it away. That's the 5th turnover on the Leopards. And interesting, again, you want to start the seniors on this day, but it does throw things a little bit off kilter. You've got guys coming off the bench. It's just a different feeling on this day.
And it's a rivalry game, you know, and it's different. And he's now, if it continues, I would imagine he starts screaming and yelling. But early in the early going, you set the tone for your team as a coach and a leader, and tone matters.
Well, the trend right now may change the tone. Lehigh closing in on 4 minutes now without a field goal. They've missed 7 shots in a row.
And that's the other thing. I mean, you can't coach missed shots. You can coach getting better shots, but Lehigh's getting good shots. Just a matter of knocking them down.
Foul on Goldsboro in the battle for the board. His first, team number 3 on Lehigh. 4 team fouls so far on the Leopards. Fun little battle for position in the post between Tristan and Goldsboro. Scott trying to stick a 3. Lindner comes away with it.
Oh, and you got to throw it to him. He's got to get a touch. He does a nice duck in. He's calling for the ball. Throw the big fella the basketball.
There he is again. stays on the perimeter for the moment. Lindner's runner there. Trist with the rebound, and free throws coming up.
He's just a worker, is Trist. And a lot of it, hitting him in the post, is about getting a better angle as a passer. But when you're not catching it, when they're not throwing it to you, this is a way you can get some offense. Just go get the offensive board. And at 6'9", 230, he is a load. And that's 230, having lost about 15 pounds in the offseason.
Moving a little bit better and showcasing his ability to pull foes away from the basket with a consistent 16, 17-foot jumper. Second in the Patriot League in scoring. 17.6 per game. And after the work at the free throw line, Trist comes out. And Nate Musters comes in, so it's one Aussie for another as the man from Sydney gets replaced by his countryman Musters.
How big is it when your big guy shoots 80% from the foul line, too, as Trist does?
And the top two teams in the league in free throw shooting, two of the top 50 in the country. Kempton trapped for the moment, got it to Price. Gets the roll.
Karan Ross and Austin Price there. Those two are so good at living in the paint. And there, Price shows you his ability to finish through contact.
Simonton bodying up to Lindner. Brandon Alston, freshman from Virginia, tracking Scott. Lindner, pull up, three. Almost. Simonton has a seam.
I mean, that's just early offense. You get an early drag screen at the top. It's so tough to defend, especially when those guards can come off and knock down that shot consistently. But that's what we call early offense. You don't have to call it. There's not a play. The guard brings the ball up. You have to defend out of that.
And they have so many players that can fill that role. Ross can do it. Price can do it. Simonton you saw there, and he's had more of a scoring pull for this Lehigh team in league play. After that drought for the Mountain Hawks, Leopards have one too. They've missed 6 straight shots from the floor.
It's about playing basketball, being a basketball player, making reads.
Tusinski drive and kick. Scott short on the three. Hinrichs smartly wheels it back out, and the Leopards reset. Another drive and kick. Couple of good looks from three. Lafayette with some offensive rebounding. That's touched in, think it went off of Kempton.
Well, and there's another guy who can attack the paint. Nick Lindner. We've got some young guards, some terrific young guards in this game. The future is bright in the Patriot League with these guys. You see just the attacking of the basket.
Sophomore from Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Chuku wanting three. Price with the save for Lehigh. Ross. Chuku had it stripped. Tusinski. Quick hands. Hinrichs. Trist. Easy deuce.
Offensive rebounding for both teams, creating second opportunities. For Lafayette, those long shots leading to longer rebounds. And Lehigh, we've talked about how good they are up front. But when the ball is correct, and some of those old boards, he's getting some of that scrappy stuff. Helps when you're lighter on your feet.
Maybe he's thinking because it's summer down under that he wants to get ready for, like, you know, swimsuit season at the beach.
Right.
Dan, can we come with you right now? Take some sunshine and beach time. Kempton working on another Aussie, Musters underneath, and a foul there. Well, it's warm inside here, Stabler Arena. 2 high-flying hoop teams. He's not just an academic, he's a basketball coach.
It always helps to call the officiating crew a handsome crew. That is a well-schooled coach.
Right now, Lehigh continues to struggle on the inside, and a fast break bucket for Zach Rufer.
And issues with defensive balance for Lehigh. We've seen a few of those runouts. If you're the guard, you got to rotate back.
Ross left open and delivers three.
It's a big shot. These guards for Lehigh have carried him. Tim Kempton still without a bucket.
Kempton and Goldsboro combined 1 of 9 from the floor at this point, but the guards keeping the Mountain Hawks, as Chris said, within striking distance, down 7. Tusinski. Just a bit short. And the reach in on Hoffman.
I would love to come back just for about 15 minutes as Joey Tusinski. He's got a neon green light to fire whenever, wherever. And when you shoot it like he does, I think that's good coaching.
3rd all-time in 3-pointers at Lafayette. And again, trio of 1,000-point scorers here in this team. Only other squad that has that many this year in Division I is Wofford, as Kempton finally gets on the board.
And it's that 15-foot jump shot. We said it's been tough sledding on that block, but Kempton shows you the versatility.
Rufer, not shy, just grazed side rim. Ross to Goldsboro. That's 2.
Just a pick and roll. Again, that early drag screen from Goldsboro. He rolls right to the rim, and the nice delivery from Karan Ross.
Talk about the struggles of the post guys. Back-to-back buckets for Kempton and Goldsboro when it's a 3-point game. Rufer saving it and bumped by Price.
Well, Karan Ross with his 11 points a game. You see right here, he's going to roll right to the basket. It puts so much pressure on this defender because you got to stay with Ross. And he carries it out, carries the ball screen, and Goldsboro just keeps rolling and gets a layup. And Karan Ross, with his 11 points and 6 assists a game, accounts for 35% of this Lehigh offense. You see how important that freshman guard is to this team.
Imagine how that percentage could blossom throughout his career. Lindner on the take. Count the basket on the goaltend.
It just changes your offense, Jason. You've seen Lindner for Lafayette, and then Price and Ross for Lehigh. When you have a guard who can just get into that paint.
Look at the change shooting-wise for the Mountain Hawks. 5 for their first 22, and since they've hit 5 of their last 6, and now Lindner called for the reach-in on Ross, and that's the second on the point guard for Lafayette.
And it's a mature game, and that's what impresses me the most about Ross. A lot of times with young guards, it's so hard to get them to either slow down or speed up. And he's got both of those speeds. He's got about 4 gears that he goes to. His stop and starts, he's dynamic with the basketball. Very difficult to keep in front. And when you put him in those ball screens, it makes it even harder.
4 assists on this game. That puts him 5th now most in a single season at Lehigh. And a couple more, he'll vault to 4th most in one campaign. And it's his first campaign here with the Mountain Hawks.
And you think about these two guards, Lindner and Ross, they're in the top 5 in the league, assist to turnover ratio. So, and that's the other thing with young guards, you know, trying to keep them from not turning the basketball over. And both those guards have done that.
Simulton out getting a break here with under 90 seconds left to go in the half. On the tap out, tapped out by the Leopards, so Lehigh will get it back.
You see the athleticism from Goldsboro. Poor job of a free throw block out from Lafayette. Goldsboro just goes right up over the top, gets his team another possession.
Ross, Severka, Kempton and Trist, and another tap out, corralled by Lehigh. Final minute here, first half. What a finish by Goldsboro. Half dozen points for him. 2-point game. Jasinski. Scott pulls up. The lefty can't stick it. And a whistle underneath will stay at this end. And they get Schaefer for the shove.
That's a big call, Jason. You got a chance if you're Lehigh. 13 seconds to tie this game going into half. And now you give Lafayette an under out of bounds, a team that executes very well on those under out of bounds.
So Lindner tracks back out towards center court, ready to go after it. Hinrichs for three. Beauty work for the Leopards. The half-court heave offline, and Lafayette still where it's been most of the game. That's in front. Fran O'Hanlon walking off. Lehigh has never led. Mountain Hawks won a sweep of the season series against their rivals. Lafayette looking for a split. And again, both of these teams still in the mix for a top four finish in the Patriot League, which would get you a home game and a trip to the quarterfinal round. Price starting strong for Lehigh.
And just a set out of the locker room drawn up by Brett Reed. Well executed by his team. A pin down for Price, and he buries it.
And now a kick basketball.
And remember, Jason, you go back to the way that last half ended. An offensive rebounding foul called on Lehigh. Lafayette takes advantage. They score a big three-point turnaround there. And then Lehigh right out of the locker room knocks down a triple.
Always seems in a rivalry game, every possession is magnified. 4 points, the differential in that meeting last month in Easton. Hinrichs trying to flash past Goldsboro. Did a good job of steering him wide of the net. Price looking to make it back-to-back hoops to begin the second half. Wonderful outlet pass from Lindner. Kimpton thought he had the block, but Hinrichs to the free throw line.
In our interview coming out of halftime, Fran O'Hanlon said there's a time to run and there's a time not to. This one, what a delivery. Seth Hinrichs, their four-man, sprinting from end to end. That is a time to run. And you get Hinrichs, who shoots 90% from the foul line in conference, leads the league for 2 opportunities.
He was 8 of 8 in the first meeting earlier this year against Lehigh, part of his 17-point performance. Lindner had the setup to put Hinrichs back at the line, senior from Clara City, Minnesota. And this is a senior-laden roster for Lafayette with Trist, Jasinski, a lot of the key pieces. This their final go-round. Schaefer. Kempton able to keep it alive on the baseline. Can't cash it in himself. Leopard ball.
Those two big guys for Lehigh, Kempton and Goldsboro, are relentless on that offensive glass. You cannot keep them off of there. They are going through 2-3 bodies to get a hand, any hand on that basketball.
Lehigh, #1 rebounding team in the Patriot League. And working the glass. Kempton continuing to struggle from the floor. 1 of 8 field goal wise. Hinrichs. Long rebound to Ross. From Jonesboro, Arkansas. Making an impact in Pennsylvania, so too is the guy from Fort Washington, Maryland.
You're going to have to put a body on Justin Goldsboro, because the penetration is drawing to help, and he's just going on a straight line right to the offensive glass.
Lehigh Lehigh never led. They have now. And one opportunity for Tim Kempton.
First 2.5 minutes, one of these teams has come out of the locker room playing harder. They're going after every shot, and they're running the floor.
Going back to the first half for the Mountain Hawks, the run is 18-6. And again, Lehigh gets its first taste of being in front today. Linder circling around. Trist looking for position. Scott, skip pass. Boykins, well short. Trist shaving it to Price. And that allows Ross to get an easy two.
And you might want a timeout if you're Fran O'Hanlon, just to calm your guys down.
That is the case.
Lehigh has come out of the locker room exploding on both ends.
Preseason, again, a lot of younger pieces playing large roles, including a freshman point guard. But Karan Ross has been maybe even better than advertised in helping this Lehigh team achieve.
Well, sometimes you got to get a little bit lucky with freshmen, that they're ahead of the curve, and Ross has certainly been that.
Trist has missed the bunny in close. Ross. Kempton working the glass. Schaefer wants three. Got three.
You know, the big guys for Lehigh, they're just setting a ball screen at the top and getting a straight line run on those offensive rebounds. And it has changed the tide in this second half.
Second triple of the game for Corey Schaefer. Scott had an angle, but left it short.
Here's Tim Kempton right here, and he's after the ball screen. He's going to get a straight line run right to the backboard. Dan Trist helping on the ball screen, does not block out, and it leads to points for Lehigh.
Linder puts it up. Trist able to win that individual war with Kempton. Linder in heavy traffic, and will stay here on the floor at this end. Foul on Lehigh. Timeout here, early second half. Mountain Hawks soaring in front over their neighbors, the Leopards of Lafayette. Opinion between official and head coach. There you see Dr. Brett Reed, the 2 NCAA tournament appearances here for the Mountain Hawks.
Well, we started the game. Brett Reed was calling the officials handsome. I wonder if his opinion has changed.
That's a handsome-looking jump shot from Seth Hinrichs, able to deliver a big bucket for Lafayette, which only had a single free throw to its credit so far here in the second half. Still, it's been 13-4 in favor of Lehigh here, second half. Kempton trying to add to it.
He got fouled. My goodness. I mean, he initiated the contact to start, but then they grabbed his arm. One foul does not begat another. You can't just erase the whole possession. Look at this. Now, he initiates that, but that's a foul.
Mountain Hawks do keep it. Goldsboro almost lost it, and they'll call Goldsboro for the loose ball foul.
Well, it's been a battle inside all day, Jason, and you know both teams physically getting after it as you would expect in a rivalry game. Schools only 14 miles apart. Just collisions, and these two guys going knee to knee.
Scott able to shake it off, the one that collided with Goldsboro. Little give and go, beautiful work. Trist lays it in.
Big guy to big guy making that play. And a nice catch by Dan Trist.
He's got 8, second leading scorer in the Patriot League. Trying to heat up to help the Leopard cause. Kempton to the top 5 in scoring 2. He can't get it going. Maybe he'll get some work done from the foul line.
And he was not that kind of a player in the first half. In the post was Kempton. There he goes right to work, moves quickly after he scans the defense, and with aggression gets himself to the middle and back to that foul line.
Foul on Trist, his first. Tim Kempton, son of an NBA player, dad Tim. Worked with 9 NBA teams, played overseas, about a dozen years as a pro. 7 now for Kempton in this game. 11 double-doubles this year for the sophomore from Scottsdale, Arizona. Top 25 in the nation in Division I. Underneath, Scott shaking free.
A nice cut and another nice find from Seth Hinrichs, showing you his ability to pass, moving without the basketball.
Well, the three-pointer's been really not ultra effective this game for Lafayette, so working some magic underneath. And that's a turnover on Lehigh. But tonight at 8 Eastern, on CBS Sports Network, the steel gates fly open, the most unpredictable 8 seconds in sports. The PBR Built Ford Tough Series Caterpillar Invitational. Tonight at 8, right here on CBS Sports Network. Jesse Chukwu returning for Goldsboro. Ready to get after it here. Early stages, second half. Scott. Kempton snares that. 6th board of the game for Tim Kempton. Chukwu maybe telegraphed the pass. Scott read it. Hinrichs eyeing up 3. Chukwu makes the extra pass. Price can't pay it off. Tusinski and Kempton down.
Takes 3 guys to keep him off the glass.
And now Tusinski slow to get up at the other end. Officials seeing that. Brett Reed, one of the guys that pulls in this game for Lafayette. Missed a game a couple weeks ago against Loyola, out with the flu, but has been streaking in the right direction for Lafayette from long range last couple of outings.
Well, at the very least, he poses the threat. You have to guard him out there.
Lindner. Trist the follow.
You see the damage the guards do. They may not finish, but they're drawing the help, which is leading to those offensive rebounding opportunities when you draw the shot blocker.
Trist in double figures with 10. We're tied up, but only for a handful of seconds. Ross tie-breaking.
What a big shot by the freshman. Stems the tide, gives him a 3-point lead again. Shot it with confidence.
5th 3-ball of the game for the Mountain Hawks. Hoffman left alone and filling in admirably for Tusinski.
Starting to cook up. Starting to heat up here in Bethlehem, Jason.
Foul on Zach Rufer, trying to defend. End-to-end action. Rival went off injured, still being attended to for Lafayette, and they've got the crutches out, and that is never a good sign. Certainly looks doubtful to return in this game. Schaefer can't deliver from deep. Look at the 3-point story and the inside game as well for both teams.
The way both these teams shoot it, and they both shoot with freedom and a green light. We can see spurts like we've just seen over the last minute and a half.
Trist called for the offensive foul.
You know, we've seen physical play in the post, and you want it cleaned up, but I think this is the wrong direction. I mean, again, I don't see anything there that's excessive on the part of Trist, and Kempton does reach in. So the fact that you call that, I don't like that call.
10.7 rebounds for Trist, 6.7 rebounds for Kempton in that individual battle in the post, with two potential first-team performers here at the Patriot League. Hinrichs back in for Roofer for Lafayette. Chuku, and they'll get the held ball call, arrow favoring the Leopards.
You know, we've seen Jesse Chuku, about 80% of his shots on the year are from three-point range. He's not comfortable putting it on the floor or down there in that paint. He's got $1 million body, but not as comfortable when he's forced to do anything other than shoot the basketball.
He's coming off a big last outing. He carried Lehigh against Navy on the road in Annapolis in the first half. Had 10 of the Mountain Hawks 20 points. And Lehigh able to score enough second half to escape with a victory, 59-53. It's the first Mountain Hawks win of the season after trailing at the half. They have the opportunity to get a second one in this game. They can come from behind after trailing the Leopards by 5.
Lafayette playing with a big lineup, have Seth Hinrichs playing at the 3.
5 of the time. Scott Hinrichs turn. Got a couple of boards there and scores that one.
Fran O'Hanlon countering that size up front with Lehigh by going a little bit bigger with Trist, Hoffman, and then Hinrichs at the 3.
Surge to the cup for Simonton. Free throws the result.
This has been a physical battle. And that's why when you make that offensive foul call on Dan Trist at the other end, I don't understand the tone that you're setting. But both these teams know that they're in a fight.
Simonton at the free throw line. Talk about this rivalry. Physical battle. It was physical for Fran O'Hanlon a couple of years ago against Lehigh. Players coming into the bench area actually tore up his knee. No worse for the wear. Able to get down and getting that familiar coaching kneel. In over 200 meetings all time in basketball for these schools. It was a historic meeting, 150 in football in the fall. They played it at Yankee Stadium. Sold out, big crowd. As the Leopards got that win, and they're back in front here.
I always joke with Fran, he's the only coach who was in the league when I played, and I say, I don't know if that makes you feel old or if it should make me feel old.
Chuku. Wild miss, and it's Lafayette ball. Now here at Lehigh, Jason Knapp with Chris Spatola, twice the leading scorer in the Patriot League during his days at Army. He's still trying to erase the memories of you putting up 43 in his house.
There's no better guy, you know, Jason, and he's just a joy to talk to. He's been so good for this area of Pennsylvania and for the game of basketball.
That one hops over top of the backboard, 7-1 run. And this is a pretty daunting list. You look at the guys that have been in the same jobs for about the last 2 decades. It's not very long.
No. And it's an esteemed list. Look at that. I mean, it's, you know, in this day and age, too, to stay at a school the way that Fran has, it speaks to this area, speaks to how much, first of all, success he's had. You don't stay that long if you haven't had success. And as you've mentioned earlier, a Philadelphia legend as a player was Fran O'Hanlon.
It's commitment on both ends from coach and institution. And there's commitment on the drive from Austin Price. 10 now for the sophomore out of Detroit Country Day in Michigan. Musters getting some work here, spelling Trist. Trying to set the screen. Ross stayed with Linder. That duo meeting again. Ross looking for the poach. They get tangled up. Leopard ball, 3 left to shoot.
I'll tell you what, you get into that painted area and it is a fist fight. So much for protecting the ball handler. Nick Linder gets in there and it ends up both guys on the floor. Short clock here on the under out of bounds.
Trist in and out. Mountain Hawks looking for the lead back. They got it.
I mean, that is just the hesitation, the change of pace. The maturity of Karan Ross has been on full display. It is not the move. Everybody wants a crossover or through the legs. It is not the move that is the deception. It is the change of pace.
Ross has 7 of the last 8 points for Lehigh, and the Mountain Hawks back in front. Under 10 on the timer. Linder launching and landing 3.
How about the grit from this young man, shaking his head over to the bench, saying, I got this, fellas.
Wondered how the Leopards would handle the 3-point category without their top threat, Joey Tasinski. Kempton fouled. Things starting to heat up a little bit.
These 2 young guards, you don't think they know that they're playing for supremacy?
15 points, hit some big shots as Lehigh would just not lose, able to take that game over the Sun Devils in multiple overtime. Turnover here for Brett Reed and company, their 10th. Trying to stay positive with his squad. Linder back in for Lafayette. Great to be able to listen to him. We've heard the tone, everything that goes on in the game, chatting with the officials. See if this works out for a nice senior send-off for the Mountain Hawks. 4 players playing their final home game. Linder, little daylight, and boom. And that's been big for his game, the ability to consistently hit that outside shot. 55-50. Turnover. Price gives it up. Mountain Hawks 4 giveaways in their last 7 trips. Hinrichs gives it right back. All day for Price to deliver that, and they can't put it to the bottom.
Time, score, momentum. We've seen Price hit that shot. But a 5-point game, 6 minutes. It's a quick one.
Trist, foul line jumper, good.
And that's why I say, you don't force Lafayette to guard on the other end. And so you take a quick shot, shot selection being about the time that is concerning with Dan Trist. It's that ability to step out and shoot it from 15 feet.
8 straight for the Leopards, going from 1 down to 7 up. Goldsboro. Foul on Hoffman defender.
A nice cross screen there. You get Goldsboro in the lane, and he goes right to work. Quick to his action. And how about this guy? The toughness.
Rivalry game, last go-round against Lehigh. Tasinski saddling back up.
Well, it's one thing about these Lafayette guards. They are really tough. Lindner, Bryce Scott, Tazinski, as tough as it gets.
Goldsboro gets the second. Patience from Trist, back to Scott. Hinrichs. Speaking of mid-range games, he's got one too.
Both these teams run that horn set. You put the two post players on the elbows, and you end up getting a big-to-big screen. Hinrichs, the ability to put it on the floor.
16 now for Hinrichs. 8-point lead, Leopards. Price, yes.
Shot makers, both teams. Shot takers, and more importantly, shot makers.
Price now in double figure score. Trist. Kempton called for. Back down, scoop, second effort in.
He went Moses Malone on him. Got his own, gets an offensive rebound out of the exchange, and 2 points. And that's tough to defend if you're Dan Trist. You're working so hard to prevent the initial shot that the blockout is secondary.
Kempton closing in on a double-double. He's got 9 points and 9 boards. Tazinski. Bum, ankle, and all, just a fraction off.
Well, in the first one, he had it open, that three. You wonder if that ankle plays into him psychologically. He decides to put it on the floor, get closer.
Trist getting called for the hold. That's his third.
And you gotta love a fist fight. You gotta love it. Both these teams battling.
Lafayette's won it the most. Lehigh won it most recently last month. We're settling in for this final stretch. Lafayette on the road here, up by 3 as Kempton changes it with that rattled-in free throw. And continuing to get a taste of it. Fans starting really to get enthralled here second half.
There's a buzz, absolutely.
So after that 8-0 spurt from the Leopards, 6 consecutive points for Lehigh, 2-point contest. Lindner directing some traffic, wanted Hinrichs to come to his side. Trist left open, did everything but fall through.
Everything. How many has he had that have gone in and out?
Goldsboro, step back, we're tied. Timeout, Lafayette.
This is one of those games, Jason. You get a shot that goes.
Game 10 for the Leopards. Currently, our 4th tie of the contest. Lafayette trying to break a drought of close to 3 minutes without a bucket. Lindner does that.
Just a flat ball screen at the top, and Nick Lindner shows you his burst. He has been terrific down the stretch here for Lafayette.
Ross trying to answer with a point guard drive of his own.
And there's Goldsboro again. Gets his team another possession.
Goldsboro trying to enter it. kick basketball coming. A little delayed on the call, but it is there.
It's a lot delayed.
Look at the Patriot League standings. Lehigh solo third. Lafayette tied for fifth. Start of the day. Remember, top four gets a run all the way to the quarterfinal round, and the top four gets a home game in that round, where the better seed hosts all the way through the Patriot League tournament, so extra value to this rivalry meeting. Kempton off the inbounds play with the left hand. Timeout, Lehigh.
A well-executed under out of bounds. And they'll allow Lindner to get a full head of steam and let him create going north-south.
Lindner on the move, 8 of the last dozen for the Leopards.
And a little false motion into it, and here it comes.
Pulls up, scores it.
You go back to what works. Again, a little misdirection, a pass to Hinrichs. You know, a little false motion there. Then you get into what you want. Run a few seconds off that shot clock. And what an enormous shot by Lindner.
Sophomore Nick Lindner with the go-ahead bucket. And another sophomore, Tim Kempton, loses it out of bounds. 12th turnover against the Mountain Hawks.
And I would imagine we're going to see the same set out of Lafayette, Jason.
Kempton coming out for the moment. Chukwu returning for Brett Reed and Lehigh.
And now the clock's their friend. So, you know, obviously he could stand out there. You get it to about 10 to 12 seconds on the clock, and then you run that flat ball screen. Gonna happen right up here.
Coming near side, Ross called for the shove.
And there he just refuses it, does Lindner.
Just the 4th team foul here for Lehigh. Now Lindner can opt to hold again.
You got to be careful. You don't want to foul, because like you said, then they get a hold on the shot clock, and you got a long way to that bonus if you're Lehigh.
If you're going to commit to the foul game, maybe you should have done it a little earlier. Lindner all the way in, short. The defensive strategy works for Lehigh. Down 2, timeout, Brett Reed spending his final timeout.
And how about the little guy underneath, corralling the rebound?
Memphis UCF following us. Ross pulls up. Kept to the offensive board. Price. Rebound Lafayette. A foul at the buzzer. Either way, it's looking really good for the Leopards.
You're not going to get...
Inbounded to Trist. That's it. And the Leopards win on the road against Lehigh. Don't forget, Memphis UCF.